Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to the Raw review for October 24th, 2016. The show opened up with Jericho coming down to the ring. Apparently the show was supposed to, they played it up that the show was supposed to open up with a match between Enzo and Carl Anderson, but Jericho came out anyway because he had some terrible news. And he says that the main event between him, obviously Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins was not going to happen because it had been canceled, because he is not going to leave this ring because somebody stole the list of Jericho. He says he will not have another match until he gets the list back. Owens comes out and says that he doesn't care about the list, but he knows that Chris Jericho cares about the list, so he's going to help him find it. Jericho says that the list is his pride and joy. It's his soul. It's his own personal property, and you don't mess with that. Stephanie comes out and says that she doesn't have the list, but she will have it returned to him by the end of the night, and she says that he needs to stop being ridiculous and compete in the main event. Seth comes out, and he has the list. He states that Stephanie is on said list, as well as former best friend Kevin Owens. Seth says that he is making a list of his own for all of Kevin Owens' body parts that will not be the same after Hell in a Cell. And Seth then ends the segment by telling Jericho, if you want the list, come get it. And he walks to the back. Steph and Kevin stay in the ring, and Jericho chases him. Enzo versus Carl Anderson. Before the match, it got announced that Enzo and Cass will be fighting the club at Hell in a Cell, which we kind of already could have guessed. The match ended with Enzo and Cass using some heelish tactics. They're not going to turn heel. They are completely face in this match. But Gallows got on the ring apron to interfere. The ref was distracted with him. Cass hit a big boot on Anderson, knocked him down. Enzo took advantage. 1, 2, 3. Enzo pinned and beat Carl Anderson. They're probably going to lose on... Well, the club's probably going to win on Sunday. The New Day come out and they make a pun out of Sheamus' name because he shames us, but why can't we shame him? And then they continue to shame Sheamus. And it sets up a match, Sheamus and Cesaro versus Kofi and Big E. The reason they did this is because Cesaro and Sheamus are not going to win on Sunday, and they wanted them to look strong as a tag team. So obviously they're going to do the 50-50 booking, and they had Kofi dove out of the ring into an uppercut from Cesaro, and Big E was distracted by that, turns around into a bro kick. 1, 2, 3. Sheamus picks up the win for Cesaro and Sheamus. So Cesaro and Sheamus won, which means they're not going to win on Sunday, which is obviously, if anybody takes the titles, I want the club to take them, or Enzo and Cass. But I could see the club taking them more than Enzo and Cass, and then maybe Enzo and Cass taking them from the club. But I don't know. I feel like this Sheamus Cesaro thing is just kind of a placeholder until something relevant can take place. We had Dana versus Bayley. It was announced as a normal match, but when Dana comes out, she's like, no, we're going to have an arm wrestling match. And Dana makes Bayley use her bad arm. She wins that first arm wrestling match. They have a second. Bayley is about to win, and Dana pokes her in the eye. So Dana takes advantage of that, and Dana wins both arm wrestling matches. The crowd hated this. They were chanting, "This is boring." Like, this is a Bayley segment, and they were chanting, "This is boring," and they were booing and everything. And after the arm wrestling, Dana attacks Bayley, which Bayley then gets out of the way and hits Bayley to belly and stands tall. They'll probably have a match on Sunday. Curtis Axel comes out and says that every time he steps in this ring, he carries out the legacy of his grandfather and his dad, Mr. Perfect. He says that he believed in Bo, until last week when he attacked him. Like, it didn't make sense. He was his only supporter. And if he wasn't his only supporter, he was his biggest supporter. And that set up a match between Bo and Curtis Axel. Now, I'm not going to lie. Around the Bailey and Dana part, I started playing Destiny. I was watching it, but I was playing Destiny the whole time. So, I played Destiny to literally the end of the show. There was some parts I stopped to watch because they're important. But Curtis Axel and Bo, I don't care. Bo rolled up Curtis Axel for the win in his hometown. So the crowd was behind Curtis Axel, and they gave Bo heel heat. Golden Truth versus the Shining Stars. Who gives a shit? R-Truth picked up the win against one of the Shining. This part, though, I stopped playing for this. Sasha and Charlotte contract signing for Hell in a Cell. Both girls say they are ready. This Mick Foley gave a very emotional promo, but I didn't write every word he said because it was a lot. Charlotte demands the contract. She's like, I'm ready to sign it. I'm ready to sign it. Mick, do you hear me? I'm ready to sign it. Mick doesn't give it to me. He doesn't give it to her. Sasha says that she's studied every single cell match. She's a student. She knows what she's getting into. Mick says, you have no idea what you're getting into. Charlotte says that she has conquered everything that was put in her way, and she will risk everything to get that title back. She says that after she wins, Sasha will respect her queen. Sasha says that she's going to be the best women's wrestler of all time. Charlotte calls her weak for getting injured so much. Mick says that they can, if they do mess up inside the cell, they will end up looking like him. Not literally, but like with all the injuries and the walking and the soreness and the pain and whatnot, they'll be like him. He then gives a emotional promo about their history, like how he's known Charlotte since 1991 when she was just a little girl, and how her and her father and Mick can't agree on anything except Charlotte's success, and how Mick's kids gave Sasha an autograph from Eddie Guerrero because they knew it would help her. And then they both sign. Charlotte says, see you in Boston. Sasha says, see you in hell. Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick. Apparently, Brian Kendrick hit the sliced bread twice. And then he went for the captain's hook. And he still lost. Rich Swann reversed the captain hook into a win. Into a pin. 1, 2, 3. Are they going to give... I mean, I hope they give Brian Kendrick the Cruiserweight Championship on Sunday. I would fucking love that. But I don't know. Because technically, TJ Perkins didn't have a match, so he didn't stand tall after it. But Brian Kendrick did have a match and he lost. So 50-50 booking, he should win. I don't know. Did TJ Perkins lose on last week? I don't remember. Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman. Sami Zayn starts off really strong. Braun doesn't like that, and he leaves. And Sami wins by countout. That's Braun's first loss since the brand split, I think. But it was a countout loss, so it doesn't matter. Here was this next segment is the worst part of the show. Even worse than the matches that I didn't care about, because they hyped this moment up for literally a week and they completely shit on everybody's time. They shouldn't have even done it. Brock Lesnar came out to talk about Goldberg. They were cheering Suplex City. A few people were cheering Goldberg. Paul says that the Goldberg chants are pissing Brock Lesnar off. And then after he says that, they chant Suplex City louder and then Brock and Paul leave. Nothing happened. They do not say a word. All they say is that this is Goldberg's fault, and then they leave. What's the fucking point of that? Goldberg will be on Raw next week to address Brock Lesnar's statements that he made this week, but there wasn't any, so he's gonna be there next week for something. The main event, Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho, who did in fact get his list back. Braun Strowman eventually ended up having it. Seth Rollins left it in the locker room, and Braun Strowman picked it up. Jericho and Owens teamed up on Rollins for the majority of the match. The match ended with Rollins in the corner. Owens and Chris Jericho were about to double superplex him, it looked like, but Seth flipped out of it and rolled both of them up, pinning both men. 1, 2, 3. He pinned not Kevin Owens, not Chris Jericho, but both Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. They don't like that, so they attack him. Rollins, they beat the shit out of him. Doctors come down. They help Seth up. Seth then attacks the doctors and gets away and runs up the ramp, attacks Kevin Owens, and more refs and security come down. They separate the men. Owens gets away, attacks Seth Rollins, powerbomb onto the apron, and that's how the show ends. Apologize if you can hear loud noise in the background. I hope it doesn't last much longer. Well, this is the end of the video anyway, so we'll just wrap it up quick. Raw was, I mean, it was Raw. I don't know. It wasn't not as good as last week. It was not as good as last week. The only good parts of this show was the beginning, the contract signing, and the main event, really. I mean, I guess Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick wasn't a bad match, but yeah, Raw sucked. So, Tuesday Night SmackDown, by the way, AJ called out Dean Ambrose on Talking Smack. So, I think that's what we're getting. But, not only does SmackDown have to deal with Game 1 of the World Series between the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago Cubs, but they also have to deal with the home opener of the Cleveland, not the home opener of the NBA, the opener of the NBA, home opener of the Cleveland Cavaliers versus New York Knicks championship celebration. So, Cleveland's going to be lit. I'm not going to be there, thank God, because I'm not paying $7 billion for parking. Anyway, so SmackDown has to bring it tonight, or they're just going to accept that they're probably not going to have a lot of viewership tonight because of NBA comes back and the World Series begins. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm going to watch SmackDown, and I'm going to watch all three because I have to watch the games. I have to. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Camp Counselor Cody, and I will see you guys next time. That was unfortunate. Toodles.